Good morning. Good morning to you. Our viewers are watching from St. Lucia, residents in St. Lucia this morning, as well as the St. Lucians living in the diaspora. This is St. Lucia's COVID-19 response report for today, the 4th of March, Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Jessie Leonce, and I'm joined in studio by my colleague Carlton Cyril. Good morning, Carlton.
Morning, Jessie. Et puis, bonjour Saint-Lucie. Vous savez qu'on nous dit aujourd'hui, c'est lundi. L'autre mois, nous avons commencé en mai. Et nous avons merci en chat, nous avons un week-end bon pour vous. Quand la coutume, nous ici à Kabao Information Développement, qu'on est pour faire COVID-19, ou savez ici à ces headquarters là, studio GIS. Pour vous écouter nous sur Internet là, nous avons dit bonjour. Vous pouvez voir nous sur radio, nous avons dit bonjour bah aussi. Wete puis nous, nous développement, nous information, nous avons passé bah ou. Et toujours un plaisir pour nous et puis nous ici encore quand information vient, c'est ici à Henni, et là Henni ici où ça vous Henni vraiment information qui nous pour faire que ça ouvre ça là. Quand headquarters COVID-19, non moi c'est Carlton Cyril primaire connaître con Cox, Sam et puis Jessie à son lundi bon matin.
Thanks for that, Cox. This morning, well, no sooner did we report on the 2 cases on the 29th of April being recorded in St. Lucia of COVID-19, we had another case within the weekend. St. Lucia recorded its 18th case of COVID-19 on the weekend. We have the Chief Medical Officer giving us some information on this latest statistic this morning, bright and early.
As of Sunday, May 3rd, 2020, St. Lucia recorded another case of COVID-19, bringing the national total of confirmed cases to 18. A total of 52 samples were tested on Saturday, May 2nd, 2020. The individual is a 51-year-old male who sought care at one of the respiratory clinics with a dry cough, but none of the other accompanying symptoms of COVID-19. He has no known travel history, and we are in the process of investigating the source. The individual is currently in care within our respiratory hospital and is responding well to care. The Ministry of Health's contact tracing team is undertaking the necessary follow-up for the identification and quarantine of contacts of this case. The emergence of cases on the East Coast continues to be of concern to the Ministry of Health, as we continue to receive reports of entry through unofficial channels. We continue to strengthen our surveillance in these areas and anticipate the detection of more cases as community testing increases.
That was the Chief Medical Officer for St. Lucia, Dr. Sharon Belmar George, speaking on St. Lucia recording the 18th case of COVID-19. Quite concerning, Carlton, is the statement, the information that this 51-year-old male, our latest statistic of COVID-19 in St. Lucia, is not known to have had any travel history or contact with anyone with travel history. And certainly it brings into a sharp focus the importance of maintaining physical distancing, because at this point we are none the wiser as to the extent of the COVID-19 spread on island. We have had the youngest case being 18 years of age. We've had the oldest case being the 74-year-old female. That was patient number 9, being the 74-year-old female with no travel history or known contact with an individual with travel history. And I think it brings some resonance to the imploring of the Ministry of Health to continue, the public to continue practicing those physical distancing measures, again, because we are not sure of COVID-19's extent on island, you know.
Notably, Jesse, and interestingly enough, we would notice added to the information given by the CMO in the press release, it says the emergence of case on the East Coast continues to be of concern to the Ministry of Health as we receive reports of entry through unofficial channels. You understand, Jesse? And again, it goes to express, you know, how, I mean, we should how concerned we should be about it.
Yes.
The fact that persons believe when we had 100% recovery rate, it meant that we totally eradicated COVID-19, and certainly not the case.
Still on high alert.
Yes, and then we are hearing again, no history of travel. Of course, our boundaries are closed, and that person has been no history of a contact tracing per se. And like you rightly said, when it has to do with the social distancing and of course the mask, it leaves to wonder, are we really understanding? Do people really understand what we are saying when the ministry and when the CMO as and health official as persons? Please, please, please continue to follow the protocols as it relates to our social distancing, our staying at home, which is priority in number one, because we are saying if you remain at home, there's no reason, for that virus to be transmitted to anybody. You could very well have the virus, and as we notice, if you stay home, you get treated maybe because of your immune system. If you feel anywhere and you go, like is being advised right now, you could be tested, because the person in question, again, a 51-year-old who had symptoms of a dry cough and went in, never showed any fever, didn't have any vomiting or any other signs that are associated with COVID, the symptoms of COVID, just a dry cough. 51-year-old went in, and lo and behold, after the samples went out on Saturday, it came back, and then that person was tested positive for COVID. Encore, moi just ka vle di sa kon wè nou ka wapote bon matin, nou ni an lot moun ki ja testé positive, lè vini pour COVID, ça ka mené pour 18. Moun à présent tout nous tenir qu'on nous déca bien dit 15 te hale kayo nous viehen en l'autre day, et puis à présent mi nous attend from CMO yon monsieur 50 ans l'âge de l'année il joine testé positive. Qu'on caille bien ça avec nous dit ici à moi que Jesse a dit ça, si moi a dit yo ka vrai test, yo ka fait test ici à toujours pour moun qui croit là nous dit nous te hani 15 te moun ça oui couvert. À présent mi nou ka wè yon moun monsieur ça pas jamais voyager, pas jamais aller pièce côté, il pas venir contacter according pour CMO avec personne yo te connaître, mais ining. Et qu'à présent nous ka dit est-ce ouais raison pour moun ka ni massan les fidja yo, est-ce ouais raison pour moun wete hod yon a l'autre distance là. C'est pas pour un blague, moi j'ai passé pour week-end pour moun moi qui parmi yon a l'autre. Pour moun moi qui ka parler qui pas mêler pani masque moun ka dou ça pas rien, garçon hot just ka fait moun paix. Messieurs dames, si nous continuons à faire ça qu'a fait l'Amérique avec l'autre pays, nous ka écouter ça qui nous fait là tout le temps là pas un vaccin avec j'ai raison pour ça. Nous ni raison pour nous paix. And I think Jesse, it's worth person knowing we have to continue following protocol.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just to continue on the point that you made about, the concerns of cases emerging from the East Coast,
Yes.
Especially in when considering persons, the illicit entry of individuals from, into the borders. If you know somebody in your community,
Definitely.
who has traveled, and within the last few weeks of the country being shut down, within the last few weeks of the country, and you certain that person did not spend time in quarantine, we encourage you to report it. And if, we are appealing to the greater sensibility of persons out there, if you know that you perhaps have come in, illegally, you have come in through unofficial channels, we encourage you to please report to the authorities. You continue to put your family at risk, you continue to put the people in your community at risk, and in your going out and coming in, you continue to put people, outside of your community. Perhaps you may have returned to work within one of the essential services listed by the authorities. We encourage you to, in the interest of yourself, your family, and the country at large, to report to the nearest police station, report to the nearest health facility, respiratory clinic, to get tested in the least for quarantine or what have you, in order to clear you of any, a possibility of you being, COVID-19, prone.
Yeah, definitely. And again, on that note, Jesse, I would just repeat, and we remember having Acting Commissioner Milton Daisy here, and he was saying the Marine unit, what was put in place as per protocol, that they would be patrolling, and
24/7?
Yes, our boundaries, our borders are closed, and again, we are saying fishermen who were going out were asked to put in place, you know, with condition that you have your documents, you have whoever, not more than 3 persons on a boat, you know. And again, rightly so, Jesse, sous connaît pièce moun qui en tué, sous connaît pièce moun parce que nous fermer tout bon nous. Si moun sa sorti qui en tué, yon manière ben l'autre, en l'enterré, est ici, fin moun nous connaît, mais c'est, moi, quand c'est bon raison, moun sa tout fait quoi, tester, et on dit, obligé à dire, ou sortir bon en tué, but tester quoi, parce que là, si moi a dit, yo commencé, yon ni bon conseil, là, vini pour ces gens, façade soleil levant, en chay, conseil, là, qui dit, ministère qui continue, tester moun. Mais c'est dames, quand nous passons à dire pli, nous a dit moun, souple, suivre protocole, masse là, laver la main, ouete hot yon à l'autre, ouete caillou, tout ça, mettez, parce que bon matin, c'est pas une bonne nouvelle pour nous commencer, car dit, premier bagay nous ka rapporter, c'est un l'autre moun a trouvé quoi, tester. Et ça qui fait nous frémissant, moun sa pas aimé voyager à les pièces côté, moun sa pas aimé venir contacter, nous passer avec personne qui était Janine, mais yon est quand même, ça qui est bien important aussi, il pratique à mouche pièce l'autre signe qu'on va mis, et ben, relâchement, en rien qu'on est la fièvre, en est quand tout c'est sec qui tenait, et puis il testé, et qu'il y a
St. Lucia records its 18th case of COVID-19. When we come back, we hear from the CMO, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar-George, again speaking now on the importance of more males coming in to the respiratory clinics to get tested for any concerns that they might have, that if they have a cough, if they have any of the symptoms of COVID-19, they are asked to come in. Statistically, it has been seen that more females are going to the respiratory clinics, and we're going to hear from Dr. Belmar-George on that in just a moment. Stay tuned. We have more coming up in this COVID-19 response report.
Coronavirus? I am worried, Gassa. It's only old people dying from that.
Hold up. Being young does not mean being safe. Yes, it's true that the elderly are at higher risk, but anyone can get the virus. The effect is even worse if you have a chronic condition like hypertension, heart disease, lung disease, and diabetes, or weakness in your immune system. If you are living with these conditions, be extra careful. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol when hand washing is not possible. Avoid touching your face. Take steps to boost your immunity through proper nutrition, exercise, rest, and take your medication as prescribed. Limit being around people who have flu symptoms, even close family members.
Our health is in our hands. Together, through simple actions, we can stop the spread of coronavirus. This message was brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Welfare.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives, and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy, and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food revolution.
Thank you for staying tuned. This is the COVID-19 response report in St. Lucia for this morning, Monday, May 4th, 2020. If you're just joining us, a special good morning to you. My name is Jessie Leonce, and I'm joined in studio with my colleague, Mr. Carlton Cyril. This morning, we reported that the 18th case has been reported in St. Lucia of COVID-19. We have had 18 cases diagnosed on island so far. 15 have since recovered, and we were once upon a time, just about a week ago, boasting about the 100% recovery rate. Unfortunately, so we did record on Thursday an additional 2 cases, And on Sunday, that is yesterday, another case, bringing our total number of confirmed cases in St. Lucia to 18. At this point, 3 individuals are now being treated for COVID-19 at the respiratory hospital, formerly a Victoria Hospital.
Right.
And hopefully, we do hope that they pull through and we have no fatalities. The chief medical officer went on to speak about just noting that at the respiratory clinics island-wide, that it was largely being serviced, it was largely being taken advantage of, I might say, that
yes,
by females, you know, by more women going to those respiratory clinics, taking advantage of the services there. And certainly it is a point of concern because it's not only females who've been contracting COVID-19. Right. So we have a clip of the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar George, speaking on the importance of more males coming to get tested, coming to get checked for their symptoms. Take a look.
It is an established trend that men tend to be delayed in their seeking of clinical care, sometimes until the condition has advanced significantly. Our males are important segments of society, especially in their roles of spouses, fathers, breadwinners, leaders, and protectors. And as such, when our men are protective of their health choices, it benefits a large cross-section of our society. We particularly encourage men who may be feeling symptomatic to also seek care early, as this can prevent possible complications and allows for achieving better health outcomes.
That was the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar George there, speaking on the importance of more males. And I think it's traditional, you know.
Yes.
Men have always been called upon to go and get themselves tested, get their health checked.
Yes,
and I mean, if it wasn't important, if you thought it wasn't important before, it certainly is now. You know, we have a tendency, you know, in our society, speaking honestly, you know, that we just treat our cough, you know, or our sneeze or our runny nose with some bush tea, and you know, and at this point, I think it's important to get tested, get the health, get the authorities involved in whatever we may be experiencing symptom-wise.
Yeah, rightly so, Jesse, and we could see, of course, coming out from the CMO, the figures, the numbers are showing a lot of women are going in and being tested, and a call goes out to men, you understand, to go out and get tested, especially if you are showing any of the symptoms. And of course, the symptoms we speak of: fever, chills, repeated shaking with the chills, muscle pain, headaches, of course, sore throat, net loss of taste or smell. All of those, in some cases, you have shortness of breath or difficulty breathing. And the CMO has, rightly so, asked persons to come in. Any one of those symptoms you might exhume or show, you are asked to come in. And of course, men, traditionally, I mean, it has been something where women are always in the forefront when it comes medically to do the checkup. Men normally resort to when they're, you know, on the final stage or when they really cannot take it. So, kuya ka sorti la hot CMO avec département kamade pli nom pour ay tout fait ko yo tester expressement so ou ka mouche pièce sin là ni pour faire COVID-19 bagay kon sou ka tousser sec, sou ni la fièvre, sou senti ou ni en faiblesse encore en la fièvre ka ba en faiblesse, yo ka de sou senti l'expiration ka couper en l'eau, pièce ces bagay ça sou ni un problème là vini pour ka goûter avec point l'odeur bagay yo ka do depuis ou senti pièce sin ça avant nous peut-être ça dit c'est flou et ben bagay qui ka attaquo, mais à présent si un mois ka met un pli d'or la ka dit souple expressement là vini pour nom pli nom entre tout fait qu'on tester et soit on y pièce sin ça quoi ou ka senti malade yo ni ka mando pour tout fait qu'on aille tester yon a c'est office médical là yon a c'est ba là si ou paie ben on y question li mois là toujours 311 ou peut crier les mots ça toi yon et hen pli information.
Absolutely. And we have some more tips of the day coming from the Ministry of Health in conjunction with PAHO and the OECS as well as UNICEF. A tip of the day: draw on skills you have used in the past that have helped you to manage previous life's adversities, and use those skills to help you manage your emotions during this challenging time of this outbreak. And I can imagine a lot of people, you know, have never been confronted with having to stay indoors as much as possible. And we're also seeing, we're almost seeing sort of a deviance going on, you know, in certain instances in the public domain. We have had reports, hopefully we can confirm certain cases of persons, you know, breaking, you know, the protocol of staying in and not socializing and gathering in groups. Hopefully we could get the Acting Commissioner of Police this week again to speak to us on some of those instances. We're hearing some reports of that, so hopefully we can get him, as well as Ms. Ann Joseph, to give us an update on cases in the last 2 weeks. So again, we know it is difficult, we know that it is challenging. COVID-19 is pulling on everyone to make better decisions, you know, to avoid contracting this virus. So draw on the skills you have used in the past that have helped you to manage previous life's adversities. You would be surprised at some of the things that you can do, some of the activities you can participate in with your family at this time to stay indoors and to stay in comfortably. Another tip to health workers, this one is going out to health workers. Seldom do we hear, you know, advice being given and comfort being given. It's all commendation and expressions of gratitude to our health workers. Not taking into full consideration that they may be undergoing some high levels of stress. So this tip of the day: health workers, stress and the feelings associated with it are by no means a reflection that you cannot do your job or that you are weak. And these two tips, they're coming for the, being put out for the population at large, civilians in general, and health workers. If you need help and support based on these two tips, you can always call the 311 hotline, or for psychosocial support, you can call 722-6575 or 518-4157. The number to call again for psychosocial support: 722-6575 or 518-4157. And these two tips being issued by the Ministry of Health in conjunction with PAHO, the OECS and UNICEF.
Definitely, Jesse, when it comes to that, of course, those of us frequenting social media would have seen of what you speak of. But we again, just let me repeat for the benefit of our Creole listeners, là encore quick aller pour moun qui trouve difficile pour wete en dedans pour compter longtemps, moun qui pas vle wete kayo. Là encore l'automne organisation qui est responsable pour santé ou la terre, WHO et puis PAO, ces gens santé ça ka ba un petit conseil là yo ka do mener comme dans instance côté ou dans en situation problème difficile et ben tribulation et puis servir même expérience ça on à présent qu'on nous Covid pour ou passer temps nous savons difficile pour être en dedans nous savons difficile pour en ni tous les jours pour être là avec pas en travail mais changer pour raison pour qui ça on fait ça. Changer ça fait Covid là nous ca combattre avec pour une guérison avec manière hier ou pas jamais ça vit pas écrire les fidèles personne commun qui n'est l'autre appel là aller pour ces gens qui est devant ces travailleurs inchallah c'est moun ça c'est yo qui devant ca combattre c'est yo qui direct contact et puis moun qui ni moun qui testé et moun qui ka prend remède c'est moun ça dehors là tous les jours juste c'est moun ça yo ka bay conseil pour dire même si yo dehors là yo pas ni pour trouver quoi yo comme si dit yo pas ka faire travail ben il pas assez changer ou ka travail et puis quand yon professionnel quand yon moun qui ka travailler en l'état ça changer c'est di voir pour faire ça ou ka faire et ou ka faire tout ça ou paie yo bay limo sous les conseils sous les support limo c'est 7DD 6575 et ben 58 4 yon 57 yon encore changer yo ba ou c'est limo ça sous besoin support ou peut crier c'est limo ça encore 722-6575 or 518-4157.
This morning we have an interview, a very important interview from the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College official, IT official. His name is Royston Emmanuel, and he will be speaking to us on the e-symposium that the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Gender Relations and Sustainable Development and Digicel, in conjunction with Arthur Lewis, will be putting on later this week. It is an e-symposium, as mentioned, Digital Education, the Art of the Possible Now. And the e-symposium is scheduled for Wednesday, 6th May 2020 from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So do stay tuned for that interview coming up in just a moment. We are due for another break. Do stay tuned.
Cette lisi ka registre vers min corona ek I ka fait mouvement ek an chay vitesse tan chaque canef ka kouye pour vigilance publique la fait wolo parler en place publique kon bol en main base ti boutique changer distance sociale 6 pieds hod yon a lot I ka travay tan si ou senti ko pa cordial quarantine ko pas en contact et puis l'autre en cas où te toi pe exposé c'est un écouye free 11 ou ben n'importe clinique yo pou les pays a dimi à clé ça veut dire les supermarkets pharmacie et puis ATM yo accessible avant c'était souhait pays à clé en plein ça veut dire tout bagay fermé à 24 heures. Servi protocole comme sorti par bureau indication santé. Nous tout ensemble, ça sauver vers min corona. Si nous tous servi Jidla à toutes les.
Together let us win this war. Say Lucia be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
Because of how quickly the coronavirus spreads, each new case calls for increased public vigilance. Know what is happening, understand why, and comply. Think of the protocols as war tactics. Personal protection tactics. Keep 6 feet away from others. Avoid riding the bus, gathering on beaches, in bars, and shops. Public protection tactics. Quarantine yourself if you feel fluish in case you have been exposed. Call 311 or a respiratory clinic for advice. Country tactics. Partial lockdown. Supermarkets, small grocers, pharmacies, and ATMs are accessible before curfew. Total lockdown. Everywhere stays closed 24/7 for a stipulated period. Team tactics. Don't only follow the protocols, be a protocols police. Let's win this.
Together let us win this war. Say Lucia be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
Thank you for staying tuned. If you're just joining us this morning, we are live from the GIS studios, NTN Live, and in studio with me, Jessie Leonce. I have Mr. Carlton Cyril, my colleague, as well as our guest for the morning, Mr. Royston Emmanuel, the education technology specialist this morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. You're welcome, definitely.
Okay, so the COVID-19 crisis has definitely impacted education, no doubt about that. We've seen this term being an e-learning term as announced by the Ministry of Education. COVID-19 has impacted in an unprecedented way. Officials have had to scramble in some cases to come up with ways in which it can accommodate students this term. And one of the activities that has emerged is the e-symposium on the topic Digital Education, the Art of the Possible Now. And I understand this to be a collaborative effort between the Ministry of Education, Digicel, and Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. Can you tell us more about this activity, this symposium?
Okay, good morning, everyone. Before I start, I noticed you mentioned that we have moved towards e-learning in our education system, and this is exactly what our symposium seeks to address. Because we need to answer the question, is it truly e-learning, or is it what we call emergency response teaching, or what some people call triage schooling? The fact that we just responding to this incident now without all of the planning and preparation that would have gone into the traditional transition into e-learning. So in a sense, what we're doing right now is a response to a crisis, and it will no way be 100% perfect. You're going to win some and you're going to lose some. Now, that being said, the e-symposium actually explores more than just this approach to instruction, this response to instruction. It addresses also the future and the possibility that this response is going to morph, is going to transform into a very effective and viable approach to instruction for the future.
Okay, and the e-symposium, tell us the individuals you are targeting, and tell us more information about the platform.
Okay, so we're targeting educators, administrators, we're targeting people in the private sector, public sector, because everybody has a stake in this enterprise, in this new modality of instruction. So right now we have a number of registrants, a number of people have registered, and they come from all over the world. So we have registrants from Mauritius, from Kenya, from Bangladesh, from the UK, from Canada, from the Caribbean, and of course we have a very large number from St. Lucia. I was heartened to notice that a lot of teachers are registering for the e-symposium. Okay, so we're targeting all of those groups, and I'm happy to say that a number of them have indeed come on board and demonstrated their interest by registering.
Okay, can you give us a glimpse into some of the content of this symposium? I know definitely you have to come and sit in and watch online, but just give us some insight as to what these participants can expect.
Okay, we have three feature presentations. One of them is from the President of the Commonwealth of Learning, and this is Professor Asha Kanwa, sorry. We're very happy about that because the Commonwealth of Learning is a very huge institution when it comes to supporting instruction and technology-enabled learning and other projects around the world. So they have because it's a Commonwealth, it actually has a reach all over the world, and we're so happy that the President of the Commonwealth of Learning has decided to make a presentation. We also have presentations from some very influential people like Gordon Commissioner Williams, and I don't know if you remember, I think he's a cultural ambassador now for St. Lucia, and he has worked with the likes of Lauryn Hill and all those individuals. So he will be part of a panel that will be looking at the development of content for e-learning. The fact is, we are asking teachers, we are asking institutions to take up this new approach, but we do it, in a dearth of content. We need people to become content developers apart from simply practitioners. And so we have to invest in the creative industries, in digital media, in performing arts, in animation, in audiovisual production, if we are to make this enterprise more sustainable and reliable. So we have Gordon Williams. We also have some key people in animation, okay, and of course the education industry. We have people from the University of the West Indies who will be presenting. We have our own people like Dr. Kathy James Springer, who will be presenting on the business of digital learning and instructional design for digital learning. We have Mr. John Reed, former CEO of Cable Wireless, who will be presenting on the marketability of such an enterprise, on marketing, on outreach, etc. Digicel definitely will be presenting on the response of the telecommunication providers, towards that digital transformation. How effective is that response? What platforms are we looking at? So, I mean, it's going to be a really informative symposium, and we're hoping that people will come out of it understanding better what this new modality is all about.
Okay. Mr. Royston Emmanuel, we want you to stay tuned. This specialist education technology specialist from the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. We will continue our discussion and speaking a little bit about the culture shock, quote unquote, of e-learning in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jim Joseph, president of the Boseju Community Group. We believe St. Lucia can win the war against the coronavirus, and here's how. Every community in St. Lucia must mobilize, coordinate, monitor and support residents the way we would before, during and after a natural disaster. Identify volunteers in your community, assign them roles and deploy them. Ensure your elderly and vulnerable understand all protocols. Help relatives, shield them from unnecessary contact with others. Identify those recently unemployed and vulnerable neighbors living alone. Put systems in place to filter updates from official sources throughout your community. Promote the hotline number 311. If it takes a village to raise a child, then all of us can come together to defend the village against the coronavirus. Let's do it.
Together let us win this war. Say we shall be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. We continue this morning's interview with Education Technology Specialist from the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, Mr. Royston Emmanuel. We're just speaking on the e-symposium that has been scheduled for this week for administrators, educators in general, on the topic Digital Education, the Art of the Possible Now. And definitely a lot of information coming there, a lot of speakers scheduled for the 6th of May from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Certainly this is another example of, the e-symposium is another example of engagement online. And when we think about e-learning, we're moving from what has, especially in the Caribbean, been a mass education, you know, the classroom experience of 30-something plus students, to now moving online. And it has been described as somewhat of a culture shock moving onto the online platform. Yes. Can you speak about this transition and perhaps give examples of how well it is working so far into this new school term?
Okay, well, the concept of the culture shock is a real concept, because you're asking not only students, but parents and other individuals to more or less make this immediate shift into a way of learning that they may not have been very comfortable with. Okay? So students are very accustomed to having that contact with each other in the classroom. Mm-hmm. Okay, they're accustomed to having the contact with the teacher. There is a sense of immediate response where the teacher can pick up on the hints and the cues when students are having issues. And so what has emerged from this enterprise is this kind of distance. And we talk about social distancing, but in learning there is that kind of transactional distance that may prevent a lot of things from happening. So the major task for educators and for planners is really and truly to bring together the different tools, technologies, and strategies that can limit that kind of transactional distance. So you could pick up when a child is having issues, so that you can provide support, so that you can encourage the peer engagement, so that students can work collaboratively, you know, on activities, etc. And so this culture shock is really about, you know, taking all those things that used to happen in the physical context and placing it online. And how do we address that? Ultimately, it's about training, and more training. Mm-hmm. Okay, traditionally, training in teacher education did not emphasize the technology-enabled learning. It did not emphasize how you can encourage learning, support instruction through technology-mediated tools. And so I hope one of the lessons that we learn from this is the need to have continued, effective, certified training in the field so that we can respond to those issues later on. We're in a tropical region. We might have we can have a hurricane that devastates us, but education needs to continue. So mm-hmm. So there is a need for that kind of support, for that type of training, for that type of modality. But ultimately, if we don't want it to be a culture shock anymore, the point is we need to prepare our teachers to use the tools effectively, to design instruction effectively based on that modality.
Can you speak to the greater responsibility of students, of learners at this time as well? Because you have an open space online and otherwise where, you know, kids and learners in general have the propensity to perhaps sway away from learning.
Right. One of the things we do a lot, and I am a trainer in that field, is digital literacy. ultimately we are asking young people to go online. Well, they go online anyway, but we're asking them to go online to learn. And so we basically endorsing the use of these platforms. But we can't make the assumption that they know how to use the tools responsibly, that they know how to search information, that they know how to use information that they gather online, that they know how to flag certain threats to themselves, you know, things like that. And so I would think that what we need to do later down the line is to train our learners in digital literacy, help them understand the responsible use of the technology, help them make decisions about where they go, what they use, and how they use it. Because ultimately we are exposing them to another world.
Absolutely. Just go over the e-symposium, a platform for promotion in this next 20 seconds or so.
Okay, so the e-symposium will be hosted through our Zoom platform. It will be streamed live on Facebook, and I dare to say that NTN will be supporting us in this venture by, of course, broadcasting our e-symposium. I've heard that this is going to become central for us, and we're very gratified with that. So definitely, thank you so much. Okay, but people you could register by just going to our web page. A number of people have registered thus far. We will be sending out access information to everyone by the end of the day. Access to the symposium is free.
And over to you, Carlton.
Côté moi gadi merci en chay pour vous côté nous NTN no headquarters COVID-19 quand nous dit là nous commencer quand la coutume nous ramène tout développement qui a fait expressément là pour faire Covid là sous te ka suivre nous avec vous qui toujours ici et puis nous savent nous te hani monsieur ça qui ici et puis nous bon matin ça c'est monsieur Royston Emmanuel là il vient pour ça faire computer là il vient pour maman qui apprendre là il vient pour teacher qui apprendre parents ou kay savent as a résultat du Covid en chay attention à présent à tourner pour sous computer et ben qu'on nous a dit online tout travail maman l'école ni pour faire à présent online mais ou kay savent aussi c'est pas maman l'école tout seul parents business tout bagay qui a fait à sous computer quand ou kay savent mercredi qui va venir yo kay ni ça yo un symposium c'est côté encore qu'a changé yo ka mandé moun distance sociale là pour chebe quand moun pas ça venir dans classe encore vient assembler avec acide pour dire kay l'école avec entrer en la salle avec acide ça pas ka fait encore quand pour raison ça tout le monde à présent tout bagay c'est à sous computer Mr. Royston c'est yon l'état et c'est un spécialiste là venu pour éducation et puis bagay technologie quand là venu pour computer là venu pour monde qui apprendre là venu ka moucher monde c'est ça qui a fait mercredi qui venu ou il dit nous et ou savent yo ka mettre en programme ensemble yon qui kay éducation là venu pour faire et puis à sous computer digital ko yo ka dit en anglais et yo ka encourager monde pour venir tan qui manière ça a pris cours opération et déjà ou kay savent là venu pour ça titre la possibilité là venu pour digital et puis pour apprendre et yo kay ni en présentation qui a fait par yo couyer ces petits pays Commonwealth là bon sous savent que ça c'est Commonwealth ça c'est ces petits pays qui était en bas conduite en Chaidio t'es en bas conduite l'Angleterre là ni à peu près 54 membres population c'est moun ça presque si on est pour compter 2.4 billion bon moi dis ça pour dire quand t'es loin la terre et moun qui involvé dans ça bon président Commonwealth of Learning ko yo kouye Commonwealth ka apprendre il ka fait une présentation yo ka trouvé ko yo supporté par Digicel ministre éducation et puis l'école qui derrière aussi Affelus Community College au monde et puis University West Indies là yo on dit dans toujours quand ça yo ka encourager ça yo ka ni mercredi c'est date qui moun vini apprendre tout ça qui involvé manière ou ka fait maman l'école teacher quand à présent nous ka Covid a bay opportunité ça ba yon c'est ba qui est bien important monsieur Royston dit c'est est-ce nous ka fait con Covid qu'on dans saison Covid à présent quand nous combattre Covid avec moun pas nan choix à présent est-ce c'est pour raison ça nous tout en vrai qu'on nous à présent toute bagaille c'est sous computer quand à toutes ces questions ça kay trouver quoi y répondre et puis là ni c'est moun qui kay fait présentation quand yo kay courage ou peut registrer il dit plus tard yo kay vraie information bay moun information kay dehors en public là ou kay savent qui man yo peut registrer yo nan c'est bagaille là qui bien important et freeness ou pas ni pour payer pour lui. Il a commencé à 4h pour 7h. Ça c'est mercredi. Combien savent ou qu'attend parler de Zoom. Ça c'est un bagage sur computer de pour ni information ou aller ou s'attend ouais mais changer ou ni pour registrer avant. Yo kay porter ça sur Facebook. Et ben nous ici monsieur Royston a dit nous ici et il kay bay support en ça. Massa monsieur Royston si dit tout bagaille ben souvle dit pli mais en tout il a dit non mais en tout monsieur Royston ici on est pour faire nous savent qui ça qui a passé mercredi avec une opportunité pour vous qui dehors là qui veulent apprendre pour vous qui veulent tendre qui ça pour faire les venir pour éducation sur computer qu'on nous dit online en anglais et puis quand tu dis rôle opération là il pour faire ça qui a un bon bagaille parce que l'automne 3 c'est mon yo ni qui a adressé c'est moun nan qui kay trouvé ko yo involvant dans il kay yon bagay qui bon nous tout seul qu'on nous toujours ka dire ici Covid déjà affecté tout département opération nous dans yon manière et ben en l'autre et bon matin monsieur Royston a dit encore et ici pour parler en l'œil ou ça une opportunité pour vous même mener ko plus savant pour vous même apprendre tout ça on est pour faire c'est mercredi 4h SP Lohen adresse et puis information et puis ou ça trouve qu'on involve dans un bagage qui a ba plus information clarification les bagages ou peuvent savent et ouais moun ek tant moun qui qualifié et puis encore qu'on nous dit ça qu'a fait possible par Digicel ministre éducation l'école au Mona ça fait Louis University West Indies là University ça et puis la COL Commonwealth of Learning quoi ici opportunité pour opportunité ça sous même peut pas faire dit si yo beaucoup temps mais dans une manière ban l'autre on prend opportunité ça pour prendre l'avantage en l'air yo bagay comme ça merci tellement monsieur Royston pour ici.
Thank you for that, Carlton. The e-symposium, an e-symposium has been scheduled for administrators, educators in general, on the topic Digital Education, the Art of the Possible Now, and it's scheduled for Wednesday, 6th May 2020 from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Efforts continue on island to move around and live around COVID-19. Do stay tuned. When we come back, we have more details from the Information Command Center.
Coronavirus, but children are safe, no?
Hold up. Children are actually more likely to touch all kinds of surfaces, put their hands on their mouths and their eyes, or sneeze and cough with little thought about hygiene when around others. While children have been seen to recover well from this virus, they can easily spread it to those more at risk, like the elderly or ill persons who have a weaker immune system. Teach the little ones in your care to be little powerhouses of infection prevention. Keep reminding them, wash your hands. Cover your mouth with tissue or your inner elbow when you sneeze and cough. And be sure to praise them when you see them taking these precautions.
Our health is in our hands. Together, through simple actions, we can stop the spread of coronavirus. This message was brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. We were just saying our goodbyes to Mr. Royston Emmanuel, the Education Technology Specialist at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. If you're just joining us, you missed out on a wonderful interview. We had a chance to sit down with him to talk about the upcoming e-symposium on the topic Digital Education, the Art of the Possible Now. And this symposium is for educators, it's for school administrators island-wide. Get a chance to sit down and listen to some of the experts on on how to easily transition, how to maneuver through to the transition of online learning. And just to let you know, of course, COVID-19 has impacted the education system. We have seen, if you have children, if you are a student, if you are a learner yourself, you would realize and have seen the impact COVID-19 has had on the education system. An unprecedented way. Schools, learning has had to take a turn from, triage schooling, to now learning online. The whole classroom, physical classroom schooling concept to now learning online. And in St. Lucia, we have had to rapidly introduce virtual learning as an alternative to teaching and learning. And since the shutdown of the schools on 13th March, the school had to close on 13th March, and it has not been able to reopen physically. But online school has resumed. That resumption was in April, and of course the e-learning platform. We have seen the outcomes of the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. We see has had to restructure its implementation of e-learning by rapidly upscaling faculty, expanding content development, and building outreach beyond the college to the wider educational sector. And in this process, they've had great support from the Ministry of Education and from telecom providers like Digicel. In terms of zero rating of the portal, the outcomes are that they have a unified e-learning platform with 271 hosted courses and a 500% increase in student enrollment on the platform. And we come all the way to this e-symposium, another effort by the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College to better equip both administrators and learners in this whole e-learning situation that we're now experiencing. E-symposium on the topic, digital education, the art of the possible, now.
And of course, Jesse, need to mention that it happens on Wednesday, the 6th, Wednesday the 6th of May, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Notably, Jesse, I think we just should highlight the fact that we have the Commonwealth of Learning, the COL, and just like I said in my Creole translation, when it comes to the backing of the Commonwealth of Learning, I mean, we're speaking of 54 member territories, and you have the president of that, making a presentation, it goes on. And if I remember rightly, as Mr. Emmanuel said, we have persons registered, not only in St. Lucia, but from the entire Commonwealth community. So it would be good persons out there who are hearing our voices, and those you maybe think who didn't hear us, it would be an opportunity, because everything now is the digital education, it's technologies, online, and rightly so, Jesse, those of us who are associated with students, teachers in one way or the other would know now every morning is a Zoom meeting, is a deliverance of material from school children and an exchange with the teachers. But a little further, step further, would see the business community and the wider community as it relates to going digital.
Absolutely. And we continue in our fight in St. Lucia against the COVID-19. Our response to it on island in the last few weeks, it has been very hectic, from the very top of the esteemed offices of government, all the way down to civilians, hoping you are continuing to observe the physical distancing protocols. Our latest case recorded of COVID-19 is a 51-year-old male, and he sought care at one of our respiratory clinics with a dry cough, but none of the accompanying symptoms of COVID-19. He has no known travel history, and we're in the process, the Ministry of Health, reading from the press release there, and they are in the process of treating him right now. We just want to clear up a rumor that has been circulating with regard to a flight that came in with passengers, and that was the claim. There was no flight that came in with any passengers. As we understand it, word coming from the Operation Command Center for COVID-19 in St. Lucia, our borders have been closed to persons coming into the country at this point in time, with the exceptions, of course, with cruise ship workers who came in who were immediately quarantined. At this point, there have been no flights, JetBlue flights, bringing in any passengers. Just to bring some clarity to you, a JetBlue flight was allowed clearance on Saturday to come in to pick up stranded passengers to pick up stranded persons from the United States. However, no passengers were allowed to come into the country. 29 passengers were allowed to travel back to the United States, and these 29 passengers, they have done this has been done similarly with the United Kingdom flights picking up UK citizens who were stranded in St. Lucia wanting to return home. So individuals who are looking to be repatriated, a special accommodation has been made for them going back to the UK, and in this weekend's case, special accommodation was made for individuals wanting to be repatriated to the United States with this JetBlue flight. And Carlton, if you could just
definitely
translate.
Ou kay sa weekend chay développement yon se bagay lan nou vle clarifier ici en headquarters COVID-19 la vini pour information qui dehors lan public ka di yo permite yon plane pour entrer ça sans plane JetBlue mene moun et puis ça fait un sigwe information nou vle moun savent c'est date que la vini pour plane ça qui entrer ça c'est yon avion JetBlue y entrer mais y entrer vide. Il entre vite comme vous avez bien ça bon nous était fermé toujours nous pas qu'à permettre pièces avion et bâtiment pour entrer sortir c'est ça qui entrer sortir c'est ça qui amène bagaille nous briser ici à produits et puis marchandises essentielles mais avion ça qui entre JetBlue il vient amasser 29 passagers ça c'est résident l'Amérique. Ça c'est Américain qui était trouvé koyo ici à sous pays après yo fermé bon nous et yo paté ça voyager vie quoi 29 ans c'est moun ça samedi plein entrée ça c'est JetBlue il vini amasser ces moun ça et yo te permettre yo pour vivre l'Amérique encore personne pas te vinn à bord plein passer pilote là puis c'est moun qui travaille là et puis yo en vini amasser 29 Américains qui étaient à sous pays toujours qu'on caille bien savent l'année agrément nous même qu'a essayé mener c'est sans nous qui a bossé cruise ship là et puis là dans chaque bagage diplomatique qui ni pour parler pour faire ça qu'on appelé nan qui entré c'est pas tes pièces plein yo permettre pour mener pièces moun et ben pièces citoyens entré ça qui fait là c'est yo vinn amasser résident l'Amérique américain 29 ans c'est moun ça même bagaille était fait là vini pour en compagnie Jean Hod l'Angleterre qu'on a trouvé qu'on informer les moun ka mettre parole sa information ça do ou tan ici qu'on nous toujours dit pour tan ici c'est vraiment la vérité et qu'on nous information nous ka ba oui qu'on plein qui entre à JetBlue il pas mener personne entre un pays mais enfin il vient amasser 29 moun ça c'est américain qui était à sous pays en hôtel différents hôtels toujours qui vie la caillou yo une permission ça qu'on a trouvé corps informé.
Thank you for that, Carlton. And just to continue in terms of COVID-19 and in terms of the recent word we've gotten from the Department of Health and Wellness, it states from the latest press release, the Ministry of Health notes that data trends for the region of the Americas and more specifically the Caribbean demonstrates continued increases in cases in the number of cases of COVID-19. And this should highlight prior statements which we have issued cautioning that we should maintain our level of vigilance as we are still at risk for COVID-19. It is important to monitor one's health and take note of feelings of being unwell, which include a dry cough, fever, sore throat, shortness of breath, body aches, as well as the loss of smell or taste. Seek care in a timely manner. And this succeeds, of course, the announcement by the Ministry of Health of the 18th confirmed case of COVID-19 in St. Lucia, as well as an appeal for more males to take advantage of the services of the respiratory clinics island-wide to find out if you may be you know, a carrier of COVID-19, yes. If you have the virus, and sometimes we pass off a cough, sometimes we pass off any sort of discomfort that we may be having respiratory-wise, and just take some bush tea. You know, we're so used to taking care of ourselves and being on the go. But at this point, it is very important to be able to track COVID-19 down to, you know, every single potential case, you know, and that's why the Ministry of Health and Wellness has taken the measures it has in terms of having a quarantine facility, isolation facility, the respiratory hospital, formerly known as Victoria Hospital, to ensure that we can nip COVID-19 in the bud. So word there, as we've seen continued increases in the number of cases of COVID-19, I very much remember in the not too distant past, you know, just about 2 weeks ago, a week ago, we were boasting of the 100% recovery rate in St. Lucia. And we were sitting in Parliament, you know, talking about, in that very morning, there was the announcement of 2 new cases.
Definitely, Jesse. And again, we say a pleasant good morning to you, listening to our reporter at the headquarters, COVID-19. And we are discussing, of course, a new case recently reported, a 51-year-old who has tested positive. And like Jesse rightly said, we were quick and everybody was elated to say, hey, we 100% recovery. But it remained that the CMO, the message was still the same. We are not out of the woods, and the warnings were still there. Follow protocol. And here right now we have the CMO, of course, giving the direction that we should continue doing what we do best, the protocols that are out there, and they're asking persons, of course, curfew in effect, to remain at home, the social distancing and whatnot. Moi, je suis content pour dire ça en créole encore. Là, il vini pour nous, et pas tenir trop longtemps. 2 semaines qui passent, nous avons dit tout le monde a couvert 15 semaines nous tenir. Et mi à présent, pas dit nous avons rapporté hot caille parlement, nous avons 2 cas, mi à présent nous avons 3e cas qui mené pour 18. À présent, nous avons 3 semaines qui prennent traitement. La information avec Gide qui a par les autorités, CMO et puis c'est mon faire et puis là, qui a demandé mon qui a plaidé et puis mon toujours. Mais c'est en nous suivre protocole. Un week-end qui passe là, moi tellement moun sans masque, tellement moun acide prayon à l'autre, tellement moun pas qu'à laver la main yo, tellement moun pas me laisser comme si dit oui, ça nous a dit c'est une blague. Encore information qu'a sorti hors département CMO santé qu'a mandé moun souple. Sous santé ou malade ou qu'a tousser sec, sous santé ou dans la fièvre, avant peut-être ça dit c'est flou, ben check mal ou ni kan beto, mais au camé de souple. Allez trouver qu'on tester. Allez faire assurer c'est pas Covid, because Covid là ni tellement signe tout ça bon quand on fait mal, la fièvre là ou pas qu'à prendre l'autre des bagailles, goût bagaille, tout ça c'est signe Covid quoi. Si un mois qu'a plaider puis qu'a do dépôt ou ni pièce c'est signe ça, sous observer ou pas qu'à trouver ou pas sentir quoi ou bien la fièvre là, souple. Aïe tester. Là, il vient pour protocole, où était yon loin, yon à l'autre. 6 pieds. Mon épi masse. Depuis en public, mettez masse là. Lavez la main, ça pour qu'on double parce que, quand Jesse t'a bien dit, nous tous t'es bien contents, nous pas ni pièce qu'à encore. 100% nous pas ni pièce qu'à tout le monde est couvert. Et mi nous ka oui, ça qu'a fait plus technique là, c'est mi nous qu'attend Missia qui joint Covid là, il pas jamais voyager. Monsieur ça pas en contacté puis personne qu'on nous savent qui était ni et il simplement te chanter te tousser sec et qui allait tester puis les résultats aviés les yo testé et yo ouais il ni positif pour Covid là quand nous pas fini et nous ka dou ici souple messieurs souple pour toute précaution paix et payer jidek attention pour ça bureau santé ka dou ça si un mot à dire c'est pour ça nous ici nous toujours à bailler information laver la main c'est pas pour un style mettez masque là messieurs c'est bail ça c'est pour empêcher vermine touer qu'on savait quand touer par bouche par oreille par néon excusez-moi pas non pas bouchou yo ka mando loka tousser mon ka moun ka parler tousser et yo pas ka faire un coup de bois yo ka mando pour faire un hardware un coup de bois avec laver la main souvent wete hod yon a l'autre. Mais c'est nous pas ça dit clipper ça mais c'est ça nous qu'a fait ici en headquarters Covid là quoi nous informons yon moun annoncé puis testé positif quoi ça mené pour 18 moun nous hani quoi mais c'est moi quoi nous ka ouais nous poko fini combattre vermine il a toujours et moun ni pour apprécier ces protocoles là qui mettent en place là par bureau santé puis par CMO.
If we said nothing else, we said this. You know, we said this and we reinforced the point of observing the physical distancing protocols. We're certainly not out of the woods, Carson, you know. And I think people were starting to feel a little bit of relief. You know, there were some little pockets of complacency, you know, a little bit of it, I must admit, you know, because we're thinking that, you know, these 15 cases have all been treated and and the Ministry of Health, you know, has succeeded perhaps in its clampdown of COVID-19.
Right.
But again, just to echo the words of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, that we should not become complacent. We should not rest on our laurels. We should not think that, okay, the passage of time somehow now has eliminated the risk of COVID-19 in St. Lucia. And we must remember that we are still under a state of emergency. Several businesses have been allowed to operate for obvious reasons. Services are still required in the country. And with conditions.
We must note that even when Ministry of Commerce is saying, okay, now that we have the lawyers, now that we have our doctors' offices and even the construction, they are saying, listen, you cannot have as much persons working on a site. Persons must adhere to the mask, the social distancing. You know, all of it's still in effect. While we are trying to do the stage 3, going into stage 2, stage 3, stabilizing and reopening, all of it still comes. Even with the minibus drivers, we would know, Jesse. It was, say, okay, given you could do the 9 passengers, but guess what? Super seats, the mask.
No air conditioning.
No air conditioning. And we are out there saying again to radio listeners, to you who are hearing us, it is not over and the protocols are in effect. It doesn't, and we have and it's by law, the powers given to the Prime Minister under the Curfew Act, it states that you cannot be in public without a mask. You have to wear your mask. You have to keep the distance. People feel, well, nous avons tellement longtemps. Qui sont capables about la cox? Are we seeing what's happening in, I mean, the great United States, as we say? I mean, what is happening in, has happened in Italy, UK? I mean, praise God, we had no deaths so far. You know, no deaths, and even that I may go a step further to say our most vulnerable persons, you know, it has not been affected in one way, of course, due to, because of our protocols and what has been put in place. So I think it falls on good reasoning, and if people could understand, we will do it. Jesse will continue doing it here at COVID headquarters to let you know we are still combating this virus. COVID-19 is still real, and we are still fighting it. There's no vaccine, no cure. So the best thing you could do, among other things, is stay home. It is not over yet. If you have to go out, follow the protocols. The mask, the washing of your hands, and the social distancing remains in effect. People, we cannot say, or we cannot, repeat it, but we will have to, of course, and now that we are seeing an emergence of persons, and not needless to say, the warning of the East Coast and persons who might have been coming in illegally, or, you know, but there's a concern. So if you do know of anybody, persons, encourage them to get tested, and you yourself. And while you do it, Jesse, we are still saying, practice getting your immune system up, eat healthy, all those go with it. And sooner than later, what we all are looking forward to is being out in the open and life back to normal. I think it could happen.
Hold out. We're holding out. But at least in the interim, the stark reality of COVID-19 should not be lost on us, you know. To continue the press release, it was quite, as compared to previous press releases, this weekend's press release from the Department of Health and Wellness was quite extensive, giving the information, the statistics globally and in context to the region, as well as the recent case that we've seen, the 18th confirmed case on island, as well as the appeal to men, more men to go into, utilize the services of the respiratory clinics on island and see someone if you have concerns that you may be having a symptom. You heard us talking about the symptoms and you think you have 1 or 2 of them, or, you know, you just feel like you're not yourself. It is important to go in as early as possible, you know, to try to nib COVID-19 in the bud. Just to continue with the press release, the Department of Health and Wellness will continue to provide the public with regular updates. That is their assurance on COVID-19. In the meantime, we encourage everyone to maintain the recommended hygiene measures. Wash hands frequently with soap and flowing water. Use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer containing at least 60% alcohol where soap and water are not available. Cover coughs or sneeze with the inner elbow or a tissue, and after throw the tissue into the bin and wash hands. Use a cloth mask when going into public. Do not share these masks with others and wash them daily. Maintain physical distancing protocols at all times. Together through these actions, we will be able to reduce the threat of COVID-19. So that were a conclusion of their press release from the weekend, announcing the 18th confirmed case of COVID-19 on island.
Ek mwen kon sa bien important moun de yon nan se bagay lan ki sorti hot département santé puis CMO lè vini pour masque yo ka mando souple ou ki ni se masque là qui fait epi twel ou supposé laver yo tous les jours faire assurer ou pas séparer masou et personne pas séparer masou et puis personne moi quoi ça bien important parce que ou ka ouais un monde peni en masse et puis just bayan l'autre monde ne changer ça nous ka essayer faire c'est empêcher vermin si mais ou j'ai quand alors ouais vini pour ou ka prend cas toutes ces bagages ça qui mettait en place c'est pas pour un style et ben fashion yo ka mando souple c'est bail ça en place moi ka quoi bien important pour moun changer là on est masque qu'on met puis l'amont à délai vermin nan l'air devant masque c'est pour ça on est c'est pour ça yo ka mando servi toilette ben ticho code là qui derrière là servi là ka disposer pour ka laver faire si au sanité l'amont sanitize l'amont là ouais il vient pour ka tirer moun ni masque là qu'on bebel moun ni ka chebe ka hedi meilleur ba maçon et même masque ça qu'on empêcher vermin tu es séuné ou pas savent et nous ka dit ça ici à constant il pas écrit en les fidèles personne comme monde qui n'est quoi avertissement ka sorti département santé là encore nous ka combattre COVID-19 et yo ka dou yon ba un point ou brisé ça encore yo ka mandé pli nom pour entrer trouver ko tester.
And just to reiterate a statement and confirmation coming from the authorities, there was a rumor circulating that a JetBlue flight came in over the weekend with passengers, and that is completely false. The information that we are receiving to clarify this falsehood, a JetBlue flight was allowed clearance on Saturday to come in to pick up stranded persons from the United States. So it came to pick up persons who are in St. Lucia to be repatriated to the U.S., right? It states that no passengers came into the country from this JetBlue flight. 29 passengers were allowed to travel back to the United States. The authorities have done similar for the United Kingdom flights, picking up UK citizens who were still in St. Lucia. Flights are not yet allowed to bring in passengers. Only cargo is allowed. We re-emphasize flights are not allowed, not yet allowed to bring in passengers, and that is under our state of emergency ordinance, so that we just wanted to make that clarification to the general public. There are no flights. If you do see somebody in your community that you are well aware was abroad, perhaps nearby a neighboring island, and you all of a sudden are seeing them in your community, you need to report that information to the relevant authorities. So we are asking that you do so as soon as possible. The ministry, so much so the Ministry of Health is making note of this. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force, law enforcement is aware that we have the illicit entry of persons into our borders. And our borders have been closed for the benefit of the population right now. We are fighting against COVID-19. Efforts are feverish in terms of containing and managing COVID-19 in St. Lucia, and it defeats the purpose. You know, you are putting your loved ones in jeopardy by seeing someone do something so egregious and not reporting it. So it is the responsibility of us all to ensure that everyone abides by the ordinance outlined under the state of emergency. We have run out of time for this morning. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. For those of you watching on air and online, we thank you so much. These are the latest updates coming from the COVID-19 Response Information Command Center, live on NTN from the GIS studios. My name is Jessie Leonce. Carlton Cyril signing out for now, but do stay tuned for more programming here on NTN.